it's a challenge in itself.
I appreciate it, and I think we're all in the same boat. I think looking at a new bid or whatever it costs, what its savings are at, if there is a trigger, and we can commit to continuing transportation, we can at the cost of trading off elsewhere.
Well, when we agree on the bid,
True.
that you don't.
And what the best service we get out of this.
If I may add, Dr. Thomas, an ideal situation would be we have a road and we have what we view as the best service possible.
Well, what do you think happened here? We were pretty happy with this chief governor.
You know, in our monthly meetings with this company, we really do see the lack of, leadership possibly, the culture of the organization, because in transporting special ed students, it's much different than transporting regular ed students. So you have to have some type of passion in transporting these students. And I think this corporate organization, their mindset is totally different. On top of it, they have some aging vehicles, 15, 16, 18-year-old vehicles. And if you're transporting students with that old of a fleet, that is, can only take you so far. If I had an 18-year-old vehicle, I can't expect it to keep running like it was 5 years old. So there definitely has been a breakdown. There has definitely been a shift of the culture that has happened there.
Any other questions?
The current vendor, would they be considered, if we're non-responsive, a bidder who is not eligible to be bidder be considered?
It is my understanding in dealing with the contracts and purchasing department, they can rebid, but it will be an RFP, and Ed Code allows us to pick whomever we see best suited, best fit for our program. So they can bid.
So that's why it wouldn't be the lowest bidder. Are you considering doing the split bid for East Valley, West Valley, and combined?
That's a good question. It would be very difficult for us, both with our staff, and it would be very difficult. I think it would be in the best interest that we have one vendor that we interact with.
And you presented data about some concerns about mechanical breakdowns, late trips. Can you build in any language into the proposal that if there was a certain level of breakdowns reached, there would be a penalty to the bus company for those items? Because we have to transport kids, you can't just stop the contract, but can there be financial penalties if they're not meeting your service requirements?
There currently is penalties, what we call liquidated damages. For instance, if a vehicle breaks down and it's approximately 10 minutes late, we will charge them. We will liquidate from their monthly invoice $100 per instance. So, so yes, we are currently doing that now. And in revising this contract, we have updated it, and we have updated the many types of areas where if they fall short not meeting our service, then we will liquidate them $100 each instance. So we've liquidated the company currently anywhere from $17,000 a month up to $34,000 a month.
If you were to go out and request, and have to have 3 RFPs, one for East Valley, one for West, and one for Line, you would not have to award one of those, correct? But it would give you more options to look at in terms of what provides you guys to look at.
So if I understand it correctly, do an RFP for the East Valley, do an RFP for the West End, and then do one for both. I don't believe we would have to accept any of them. I could tell you right now that we have a contract in place ready to go that has been updated, and it has been long since, it has been years since that contract has been updated. So we have a very tight contract right now that realistically, if I get the approval to go out to bid when I leave, I can make a phone call and we can get everything started to be sent out next week. So right now we have one contract ready to go.
But if I'm hearing right, the point is you might have better options if you look at it. Some of these vendors may not be big enough to handle the 2 WESELPAs combined. But there might be two quality vendors that one could take East Valley, one could take West End and be able to handle the load with their existing organization. I think it just gives us more options to look at it from that perspective.
True, and may I please point out that we have one company that serves Riverside County Office of Education that's geared specifically towards special ed. We also have Durham Transportation in the area that serves the entire San Bernardino Unified, which is a rather big district, and they have a lot of kids, a lot of students to transport. But yes.
You also want to make sure that you're not adding on to a company's load, and then now all of a sudden we get their old fleet to take care of our needs, we're back in the same place we were before.
And the current contract that we have updated specifies this is the age of fleet that we want our vehicles to be, period. It also specifies we want to see your previous California Highway Patrol inspections from the past 2 years. It also says we want to see your on-time performance record from the past few years. We have a list of questions, approximately 20 questions, that we want to see from these vendors. So we don't want to just see, okay, what's the cost and what's the overview of the company. We're having some hard factual questions, and we want to see evidence of what type of companies are out there.
Who provides transportation in Desert Mountain?
That's done by the school district.
Pretty much done by the school district. And yeah, I believe this area is a big area.
I think if we're asking our service provider to look outside of the box, we should do the same thing, and just give ourselves more options to look at. So I would rather wait a month, get contracts that will work for East Valley, West Valley, or the whole, if you will, and then let's get all that data, then make a decision.
Well, even though we are in the month of November right now, to get any vendor out here to mobilize, to give them 8 months is really cutting it short. 8 months seems like a long time, but for a company to invest in possibly purchasing a new fleet, to mobilize out here to get a facility out within the area, or quite possibly, maybe they'll get 2 separate facilities. We're really cutting it short, and any more of a delay, we're really pressed up against the wall with our staff and with transporting our students, to be quite frank.
But it would be, I mean, I think they're happy, feeling confident in the contract that you have prepared, but just asking to have, a find and replace East Valley and West End with just East Valley in one case and in West End in the other. Is that oversimplifying it, or is there more to it?
I think you could have the same contract issued to 2 different vendors potentially.
They possibly did for the amount that they would like to cover, if they wanted to do the whole thing, or if they prefer to do one, East Valley or West End.
A vendor
But
could.
still need the same, still need the same, all the same requirements that you expect. Still demonstrate they can do that.
If that's your recommendation, that's what we can go with.
But we need to recognize that may move us back from August.
And if that moves us back from August, the cleanest option is August, because August is basically our brand new fall year of transportation.
I think vendors have to look at that, look at our timeline, and submit a proposal or not.
So do the vendors have the option of submitting one or the other?
Or both, yeah. You could have option A, you could do East Valley by itself, that's all you can handle. You could do West End, or you could say we can cover it all.
And not do
Would it actually be 3 bids? 1 bid would be just East Valley, only 1 bid would be West End, and 1 bid would be overall. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. Would it be three or one with three options? It's
You could submit one bid,
with the three.
or you could submit three
Three
bids.
options.
One more thing to add to that. If we got one company that said, well, we only want to do the West End, and they are by far the best company to do the West End, and they chose not to do the East Valley, and they chose not to do both, but they just wanted to bid on the West End, and that we felt they had the best service possible and the lowest price possible. But then we have these other vendors that bid on the East Valley and West End and so forth. Basically what it is, it would be a challenge to our staff to have two different companies that we're working with. Because our staff is there from basically 6 in the morning till 5, 6, almost 7 o'clock at night when the last student is accounted for. So our staff in the morning could very well be dealing with two different dispatchers, two different companies. And
You more than likely would increase your staff, which would cost a lot more.
And the logic is reasonable. It's just by having to interact with a whole different set of dispatchers, different phone lines, yeah, you might need additional staff members. And I don't think that our transportation department has ever dealt with two different companies. You'd have to have a totally different set of programs in coordinating, scheduling, routing, liquidated documents.
What action are you looking for from the council?
Ralph's recommendation is to let him go to bid on the one.
Now, I understand that the East Valley Superintendents requested that they be involved in the bid process and review the RFPs. Would that be the same process for here in the West End?
He's just going to bid, still gonna have to bring back the action to this group. Absolutely.
I'll make a motion to go out to bid, with three bids, East Valley, West Valley, and,
Motion second, any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Ralph?
Move that right now. Go as far with their vehicles and so forth, I think that would be one option for looking at those. Yeah, so I would support Sean's, we might get quality in a smaller chunk of places.
He's referring to Hemet.
Okay, we're gonna move on to E2.